New York soared past 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Chicago watched its asphalt crack open. In Boston, train tracks warped like hot spaghetti, and a bat fell from the sky, unable to survive the heat. In the past few weeks, entire cities have been consumed by suffocating heat. This isn't just discomfort, it's collapse. The explanation behind all of this can be summed up in two words: heat dome. Scientists call it a heat dome, a massive high-pressure system that settles over a region like a giant lid, trapping the heat and allowing no escape. The hot air builds, the sun cooks the ground, and the heat accumulates, day after day, night after night. The result? A scene that looks more like an oven than a typical summer. And the question we all need to ask is, why now? Why so early? And is this just the beginning? Welcome to Curiousverse. What's causing so much heat, so early, and with such intensity? The main culprit goes by a little-known name: heat dome. It's a high-pressure system that settles over a region and traps hot air, preventing it from escaping. It acts like a thermal magnifying glass over entire continents, turning cities into ovens. But there's more happening behind the scenes in our skies. What should be our natural shield, the jet stream, is literally breaking down. These high-altitude winds, which used to work like the planet's air conditioner, are losing strength because Arctic ice is melting faster than ever. And that's a serious issue. The weaker the jet stream, the longer the heat stays parked over cities. Now add to that a planet that's already on average 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer than it was 150 years ago. Doesn't sound like much? That little is what's making heat waves 3 times more frequent and far more dangerous. In summary, the planet is hotter, the jet stream is weaker, heat domes last longer, and the effects are increasingly devastating. And the impacts are already being felt. In the summer of 2023, Canada recorded over 12,000 heat deaths. Lives quietly cut short. In a scenario that keeps repeating more and more often. Let that number be a warning and a tribute. This heat wave isn't just an atmospheric event. It has names, addresses, and real victims. In the United States, over 150 million people are under climate alerts. Of those, 75 million live in extreme risk zones, where heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's potentially lethal. In New York, temperatures soared past 42 degrees Celsius. In Boston, subway rails warped under the heat, forcing service shutdowns. In Chicago, asphalt cracked beneath the wheels of passing cars. And it's not just dry heat. The Midwest is battling what's called corn sweat, moisture evaporating from massive crop fields, turning the air into a thick, suffocating vapor. It's like trying to breathe inside a greenhouse. Across Europe, the impacts are just as severe. Portugal, Spain, Greece, Albania, and southern France are facing temperatures above 45 degrees Celsius. Cities like Lisbon and Seville have declared thermal emergencies. In Asia, the crisis is even more extreme. India and Pakistan face temperatures this month nearing 52 degrees Celsius. Schools were shut down, asphalt melted, and hundreds of deaths were confirmed due to heat stroke and thermal failure. But it's not just humans who are suffering. Millions of wild, domestic, and farm animals are dying in silence. On farms, chickens and cattle are dehydrating in massive numbers. In forests, bats fall dead from the sky, unable to regulate their body temperature. In lakes and rivers, fish are literally cooking alive as water temperatures spike. Pets are also at risk. Dogs and cats suffer burns on their paws from walking on hot asphalt. They dehydrate quickly and struggle to breathe in stifling environments. This is an invisible tragedy, because when the temperature rises, the most fragile pay first. And animals have no voice, but we do. The impact goes far beyond discomfort. It's physical, structural, psychological, and economic. Trains stop, planes don't take off, hospitals overflow. But what collapses the most is humanity's ability to survive in a world no longer under control. Extreme heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's silent, cumulative, and potentially deadly. The first trap is acclimatization. Our bodies aren't prepared to handle intense heat so early in the year. People haven't yet adjusted their routines, clothing, or schedules, and that drastically increases the risk of heat stroke and thermal exhaustion. Then comes the nighttime heat, a danger most ignore. When temperatures don't drop at night, the body can't recover. Blood pressure stays high, and the heart remains in a state of stress for hours on end. In many cities, nighttime lows are 15 to 20 degrees above normal. That disrupts deep sleep and raises the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and heat collapses, especially among the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. In some areas, the seasons of high temperatures make unblessed high days worse, and farmers die of fatigue, but the impacts aren't just biological. Heat also strikes urban infrastructure. Bridges expand and lose stability. Train tracks warp. Roads and highways crack. Power systems begin to fail. And if that wasn't enough, it hits our food supply too, decreasing crop yields and accelerating crop loss from dehydration and sunburn. Heat is a multi-front assault on the body, the city, the food, and life itself. If you think the worst is over, think again. Meteorologists have confirmed this heat wave is still active. In the coming days, intense heat will shift toward the southern and western United States, hitting states like Texas, Arizona, and California, where extreme drought and active wildfires are already taking a toll. In Brazil, Central Eastern and Southeastern regions are also expected to feel the impact, with above-average temperatures and a heightened risk of early wildfires. But this isn't just a calendar anomaly. According to NOAA, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, one of the world's most respected climate forecasting and environmental monitoring institutions, the summer of 2025 could be one of the longest and most severe in the last 50 years. And NOAA scientists are warning us, we're entering what they call extended summers, seasons where heat begins earlier, ends later, and spreads across more regions simultaneously. That means earlier wildfires, worsened water shortages, and crop risks from the start of the season. Even more alarming, our energy and water systems were not built for this new normal. The strain could lead to blackouts, rationing, and cascading infrastructure failures. In other words, this isn't a spike, it's the new pattern, and it's here to stay. Faced with all of this, what can you actually do? Here are the essential strategies to protect your health, your home, and those you love. 1. Stay hydrated. And don't wait to feel thirsty. Heat drains moisture from your body without warning. Drink water constantly. Avoid alcohol, sugary drinks, and caffeine. And if possible, eat water-rich fruits like watermelon and cucumber. 2. Cool down smartly. If you don't have air conditioning, use fans, damp cloths, and take cool showers. Keep curtains closed during the day and only open windows at night or early morning. 3. Avoid going out during peak heat. Between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., the human body enters a state of stress. If you must go out, wear light-colored, breathable clothes and a wide-brimmed hat. 4. Watch over the most vulnerable. Small children, the elderly, and people with chronic conditions are the most affected. Stay in touch with family, check on neighbors, and offer support whenever possible. 5. Protect animals. Never leave pets in cars or hot, enclosed rooms. Always keep fresh water available in multiple places. Avoid walking pets during peak hours. The asphalt can burn their paws, and if you have farm or wild animals nearby, provide shade and water whenever you can. 6. Be prepared for emergencies. At home, keep flashlights and batteries, non-perishable food, an insulated bottle with ice, battery-powered fans, or power banks. Surviving extreme heat is no longer just a precaution, it's a necessity, and every action counts. This heat wave isn't an isolated event. It's part of a pattern, and that pattern is revealing something much bigger. The planet is entering a climate feedback cycle, a loop of self-reinforcing changes known as climate feedback. How does it work? Heat melts Arctic glaciers. Without ice to reflect sunlight, oceans absorb more heat. That extra heat evaporates moisture from the soil, drying entire regions. Dry soil and scorched forests release more greenhouse gases, which fuels more heat, more drought, and more wildfires. It's a vicious cycle, a loop of imbalance. And the scariest part? This process is already underway, and it's accelerating. What does science tell us? Recent studies reveal that the planet has already crossed some climate safety limits. These include average temperatures exceeding safe thresholds, ocean acidification, and the collapse of local ecosystems. With every new heat wave, we're not just reacting, we're being warned. The question is, how many more warnings will the planet have to give before we start listening? What does the future? This crisis isn't a prediction, it's here, and it demands action now. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're already ahead of millions of people who still think this is just a little extra heat. But now you know. It's Earth crying for help. It's nature screaming in silence. For the trees that burn, the animals that fall, and the lives being lost. And what we do with this knowledge is what defines who we are. What can you do now? Share this video with someone who needs to wake up. Subscribe to the channel to follow future revelations. Leave a comment below. How is the heat affecting your city, your life? The future isn't coming. The future has already begun. And here at Curiousverse, we'll keep revealing what many prefer to hide. Curiousverse. The truth. Unfiltered. Because the world has already changed, and you deserve to know how.